GMNA uses artificial intelligence for generated speech, visuals, and production. AI-generated content may contain errors. Please verify important information before making decisions or taking action. Live from the GMNA News Center, this is the Lunch Break News Hour.
Good afternoon, Montreal. I'm CJ Waterhouse. Today we'll see former Olympic wrestling champion Anatoly Bykov back at the Pierre Charbonneau Center and hear why the case has paused funding for the Brossard REM Tower. Traffic's light with only minor delays, and Café St. Henry just opened a new spot near Notre Dame. Over to you, Jeff.
Montreal's Urban Scouts Day Camp launches this Saturday, welcoming children ages 6 to 12 for guided tour of historic neighborhoods, public transit routes, and local landmarks.
Registration is free for residents, with spots limited to 100 participants per session, held at the Jean Talon Community Center from 9 to 3.
Camp activities include map reading challenges, bike safety drills, and interactive city planning games designed to boost confidence in navigating Montreal's diverse boroughs.
Eager faces await the day camp's adventures, and there's plenty more to explore, lots to get to. Let's begin together. Good morning, Montreal.
Former Olympic wrestling champion Anatoly Bykov is back at the Centre Pierre Charbonneau today, marking the first time he has set foot in the arena since his gold medal triumph at the 1976 Games. The 50-year interval sees the former champion, now living a low-key life in the city, touring the facility that once hosted his historic bout. Visitors to the center can watch Bykov observe the wrestling mats and meet a handful of local athletes who have arranged a brief demonstration. The event, organized by the center's community outreach program, runs through the weekend, offering a rare glimpse of a sports legend in his hometown. Bykov's presence underscores the lasting legacy of the Games that put the island on the world stage. Located in the St. Laurent borough, the Centre Pierre Charbonneau is a key hub for local wrestling clubs and youth programs.
Today the Caisse de dépôt et placement du Québec announced it is suspending indefinitely its financial participation in a residential tower project slated for construction near the Panama REM station in Brossard. The development, intended to add large multi-unit housing blocks adjacent to the regional express network, had relied on the Caisse as a principal investor. The halt comes as the project was scheduled to break ground in the coming fall, and the Caisse said the decision will remain in effect until further notice. Officials from the municipality of Brossard confirmed the pause does not affect existing REM service, but the delay could impact timelines for the surrounding neighborhood. The funding suspension remains ongoing as parties assess next steps. The agency did not disclose specific reasons for the withdrawal, and analysts note the move may reshape financing for future transit-linked housing in the South Shore area.
Today, CBC Quebec will posthumously name civil rights pioneer Gloria Bailey's a Black Changemaker, a distinction announced alongside CBC's senior producer Dion Codrington. Bailey's, a registered nurse turned activist and entrepreneur, spent decades confronting discrimination and shaping Canada's human rights framework. Her legal challenges in the 70s helped secure the right to equal treatment in housing, employment, and health services, while her advocacy contributed to the development of national human rights legislation. The honor underscores the lasting influence of her work on contemporary equity policies and on the generations of activists who follow her example. Codrington said the award reflects Bailey's unwavering commitment to justice and her role in advancing protections for marginalized communities across the country. The ceremony will be held later this afternoon at CBC's Montreal studios, with community leaders invited to recognize her legacy.
Yesterday, the Quebec provincial government gave the green light to rebuild the St. Pierre Highway interchange, a project that has lingered in studies for more than 10 years. The approval marks the first formal step toward replacing the aging junction that links Autoroute 15 with the city's east-west corridor. Officials said the decision clears a major hurdle, but detailed design work, environmental reviews, and a tendering process still must be completed before any ground can be broken. Transportation Minister announced that the province will allocate the required funding in the upcoming budget, and that construction is not expected to start until the next fiscal cycle. The move aims to improve traffic flow and safety for commuters who rely on the interchange daily. The interchange sits at the junction of Autoroute 15 and the east-west corridor that serves the Plateau and Rosemont neighborhoods, a long-standing bottleneck that commuters have long complained about.
Montreal Pride organizers announced today that security will be significantly tightened for the city's annual Pride Festival. In response to the fatal terrorist attack in Berlin, the committee said nearly 10% of the event's budget has been earmarked for additional police presence, screening equipment, and emergency coordination. The heightened plan includes expanded perimeter checks at key venues, such as the Gay Village and the upcoming parade route along St. Catherine Street, as well as a dedicated rapid response team on standby. Officials emphasized that the measures are designed to protect participants and spectators while preserving the festival's open atmosphere. Security briefings will begin the week before the opening ceremony, and additional volunteers will receive training on crowd management. The celebration, slated to begin next month, will proceed under the new safety protocols, with organizers pledging close cooperation with municipal police and provincial security agencies.
Coming up, we'll hear how Montreal's Urban Scouts Day Camp teaches kids to navigate our streets. Plus more after the break. We will be right back.
Watch the local sunset tonight at 6 p.m. for all your local Montreal news.
Welcome back, everyone. Let's jump straight into the stories that matter in our neighborhoods. Jeff Laflamme, take it away with the local news.
Yesterday, the Scouts Urbans rolled out a new day camp called Urban Scouts, aimed at teaching kids how to get around the city without a phone. The program, which runs for a single day, welcomes children 9 to 14 and relies on paper maps rather than digital navigation. Organizers said the goal is to give youngsters the confidence to locate landmarks and transit stops on their own. The concept has been tried in Toronto for 10 years before arriving here, and the pilot in Montreal hopes to spark a similar interest in street smarts. Participants spent the morning tracing routes, learning basic compass points and practicing short walks to familiar sites. By the afternoon, they were challenged to find a designated cafe using only the map they'd drawn. The camp's founders expect the hands-on approach to become a regular summer offering.
Yesterday, the league confirmed that outfielder Sean Farrell is set to sign with a franchise in Anaheim, while infielder Sasha Pastujov will suit up for a club right here in Montreal. Both athletes spent last season in the American League, and their moves signal fresh opportunities as the new campaign approaches. Farrell's transition to the West Coast brings a power bat that fans in Anaheim will hope to see in the upcoming spring training roster. Pastujov's arrival adds depth to the local lineup, giving Montreal supporters another homegrown talent to follow. The contracts are expected to be finalized in the coming weeks, and both players are gearing up for preseason workouts. Their switches illustrate how the league's talent pool continues to shift across the continent, offering new storylines for fans on both coasts.
The Alouettes turned a tight contest into a decisive victory on Friday night at Percival Molson Stadium. After trailing into the final period, Montreal piled on 14 points in the fourth quarter to pull ahead of Hamilton. The 14 points resulted from 2 touchdowns followed by a 2-point conversion. The surge gave the home team a final margin that secured the win, ending the game with a score that reflected the late-game rally. Fans in the stands witnessed a series of quick drives that culminated in the scoring burst, erasing the earlier deficit. The Tiger Cats, who had led for most of the match, were unable to respond as time wound down. The victory came on July 26, giving the Alouettes momentum heading into the next week's schedule. Spectators enjoyed a lively atmosphere throughout the contest.
Microbrewery numbers in Quebec have slipped for the first time in 15 years, ending a 2-decade stretch of growth. Industry analyst Carl Rettino Perizzelli reported that the count fell during 2024 and continued into 2025 after steady expansion since the early 21st century. He pointed to shifting business models, persistent inflation, and evolving drinking habits as the primary drivers. The contraction means fewer local tap rooms and potential job losses for brewers and service staff, tightening the market for craft beer lovers who once enjoyed a surge of new options. While the sector had added dozens of new breweries each year, the recent slowdown signals a turning point for small producers navigating higher costs and changing consumer preferences. City officials warned that the decline could ripple through related supply chains, from hop growers to distribution networks, underscoring the broader economic implications.
On July 26, the provincial government and Urgences Santé announced a collective bargaining agreement with more than 1,000 paramedics across the Montreal and Laval regions. The deal ends a multi-year stretch during which ambulance crews operated without a formal contract, a situation that prolonged negotiations and uncertainty for frontline responders. Officials said the agreement will bring clearer terms on wages, scheduling, and safety provisions, which should translate into steadier staffing and fewer disruptions for residents relying on emergency transport. The pact will be presented to the paramedic membership for a vote in the coming weeks, and once endorsed, it will be signed by the government. Stakeholders expect that clearer compensation and shift rules will help maintain adequate crew levels, potentially reducing ambulance wait times during peak periods. The resolution also removes a lingering source of tension between health officials and emergency workers, allowing attention to shift toward improving service quality.
Now let's check the afternoon outlook with our weather team and see what's in store.
An advancing low and a southwest jet are loading the afternoon with a rapid rain surge. On this date, the all-time high reached 31.4 degrees Celsius in 2025, set during an unprecedented heat wave that shattered the previous record by over a degree. The record low of 13.9 degrees Celsius fell in 2017, when a deep Arctic surge plunged the city into a bitter snap. By contrast, the climate normal for today sits around 26 degrees for the high and 16 degrees for the low, underscoring how today's temperatures sit comfortably between those extremes. The live radar now paints a ribbon of moderate rain sliding eastward across the South Shore, poised to brush the island at about 1 p.m. The southwest jet, moving at roughly 49 kilometers per hour, is steering the system toward the St. Lawrence corridor, where the core will thicken and peak near 7 p.m. over downtown. After that, the band will taper off and clear by roughly 9 p.m., while the northward sector remains dry and featureless. At noon, the city sits under a thick cloud deck at 23 degrees, humidity high and dew point 19 degrees, a classic sign of a moist low-pressure center that is still falling. The southwest jet overhead fuels the instability, allowing temperatures to climb to 28 degrees by 3 p.m. before the incoming rain pushes them down to 21 degrees as the heavy downpour arrives near 7 p.m. UV index 3 reflects the muted sun behind the clouds. Winds remain modest, 20 kilometers per hour from the southeast, well below gust concern. No active weather alerts are in force. The scene now shifts to the upcoming 5-day pattern. Wednesday brings another low-pressure push, with a high of 23 degrees and a low of 18 degrees, overcast skies, and a 60% chance of rain. Thursday eases slightly as the system drifts east, delivering a high of 25 degrees, low of 19 degrees, and only a 20% rain chance, leaving the day mostly drizzly. Friday clears dramatically under a ridge, offering a high of 27 degrees, low of 19 degrees, and predominantly clear conditions. Saturday returns to cloud cover, high 28 degrees, low 21 degrees, overcast but dry. Sunday reintroduces a deep moisture plume, delivering a high of 27 degrees, low 19 degrees, and a heavy rain risk with a 60% probability. This stretch showcases a classic swing from unsettled midweek to a brief summer lull before a final wet finale. And that's your weather. Remember, the lunch break is also available as a podcast. Listen anytime on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts.
We'll give you traffic updates with minor delays, spotlight Cafe St. Henry's new location, and recap the off-season sports chatter. We will be right back.
Watch the local sunset tonight at 6 p.m. for all your local Montreal news.
On the island, the most severe disruption is the closure of the Isle-aux-Tourtes Bridge. A major collision has halted traffic in both directions, diverting vehicles onto Autoroute 40 and the Trans-Canada route. Queues are already forming and likely will persist through late morning. A second major blockage is the Louis-Hippolyte Lafontaine tunnel between Longueuil and Montreal. An overturned truck has shut the tunnel for several lanes, pushing drivers onto Autoroute 25 and nearby surface streets. Expect slower speeds and occasional standstill. A minor incident is holding up the service lane on Tellier between Notre Dame and the downtown grid. It will clear shortly, but a few minutes of delay remain. Construction continues on Rue Lesage near Hickson, Avenue des Selles between Lacombe and Queen Mary, northbound Côte des Neiges at Le Boulevard, and Rue de la Commune Est between Saint Gabriel and Place Jacques Cartier. All sites operate under reduced speed, adding a few extra minutes to travel. Transit runs on schedule with no reported interruptions.
Fierté Montreal Pride 2026 is in full swing, with indoor parties, plays, comedy, and dance shows lighting up venues across the city. It's a chance to connect with the city's vibrant LGBTQ+ spirit and enjoy top-tier entertainment without braving the heat. At Time Out Market Montreal, Cirque du Soleil's Echo Photo exhibition invites you to step behind the scenes of the iconic show, offering striking images that reveal the artistry and daring that define the circus. Seeing those behind-the-scenes moments deepens your appreciation for the daring acrobatics you love. Families can also head to Time Out Market for free kids activities and a live Cirque du Soleil experience, turning a rainy afternoon into a playful adventure for little ones. The free activities keep youngsters engaged while you soak up the circus atmosphere. All three options are happening now, so whether you crave celebration, visual art, or family fun, Montreal has a spot waiting for you. And now here's Jason with sports.
Habs buzzes with interviews, a key trade and a rising star eyeing all-star glory. Nick Suzuki, Cole Caulfield and Lane Hutson field questions about Hutson's debut, underscoring the young defenseman's integration into the blue line. Meanwhile, the Canadians flip Sean Farrell for Sasha Pastujov, a third-round pick turned forward, adding depth at wing and signaling a shift towards speed and versatility. The Canadians lock up Sasha Pastujov, a 23-year-old forward, in exchange for Sean Farrell. Pastujov's restricted free status mirrors Farrell's, giving Montreal flexibility while bolstering a second-line scoring option and creating a competition for the right wing spot as training camp approaches. Juraj Slavkovsky earns a projected spot on Team World for the 2027 All-Star Game, a nod to his standout Olympic showings. The selection boosts his profile and gives Montreal a marquee forward to showcase, while fans will watch his offensive spark translate to regular season production.
Café St. Henry in Old Montreal has just opened a new specialty spot on the front courtyard of the Notre Dame Basilica. The coffee shop blends the city's love of espresso with the historic charm of the basilica's stone arches, offering handcrafted drinks and pastries that echo the neighborhood's French-Canadian roots. What makes this opening special is that a portion of every cup goes straight to the ongoing restoration of the 200-year-old landmark, helping keep the basilica's frescoes and stained glass shining for future generations. Locals already gather there, turning the courtyard into a lively meeting place. It's a reminder that everyday businesses can be guardians of our heritage, and that Montreal's cafes are as much about community as they are about coffee. Stay tuned for a heartwarming tribute as we celebrate Gloria Bailey's, honored posthumously as CBC Quebec's Black Changemaker, up next.
Coming up tonight at 6, the local sunset. Your neighborhood, your city, your news. From City Hall decisions to the stories happening right on your street, we cover what matters most to Montrealers. Join us tonight at 6 p.m. on GMna for the local sunset, Montreal's evening newscast.
The Quebec Transport Ministry has announced that the multi-million-dollar reconstruction of the Saint-Pierre interchange has officially entered the planning stage, a move that could dramatically reshape traffic flow for commuters in Lachine. We go live to Carl Dumont at the site. Carl Dumont is there. Carl Dumont.
Thanks, CJ Waterhouse. I'm standing on the concrete deck that already spans the busy arteries of Highway 20 and Route 138, the roar of rush hour traffic humming beneath me. Construction crews have cleared the old overpass, leaving a skeletal frame of steel girders that rise like a scaffold against the sky. Engineers and planners have set up temporary signs, while a group of local shop owners watches from a nearby sidewalk cafe, coffee cups in hand, eyes on the blueprints spread across a folding table. The Quebec Transport Ministry just announced that the project moves into the planning stage, shifting from demolition to design. The new elevated structure will lift traffic above the riverbank, promising smoother flow, longer-lasting bridges and dedicated lanes for cyclists and buses to encourage sustainable mobility. Residents are invited to share ideas, hoping the redevelopment will bring green spaces and fresh storefronts to a neighborhood that's long waited for change. This isn't just concrete and steel. It's a chance to reshape daily life for commuters and families alike. Carl Dumont virtually at Saint-Pierre Interchange.
On a bright Saturday morning, I found myself on Notre Dame East, the lively artery that stitches together the Plateau and Mile End. The sidewalk was alive with the clatter of cyclists, the hum of a street musician coaxing a mellow tune from his sax, and the scent of fresh croissants spilling from a newly opened bakery. I met Liz, a longtime shopkeeper whose family has tended the corner hardware store for generations. She showed me the fresh teal paint she chose for her storefront, a small but bold statement of renewal. Further down, a group of high school students were sketching a mural on a vacant wall, their bright colors already turning the blank brick into a hopeful portrait of community. As the sun slipped lower, the neighborhood gathered for an impromptu sidewalk coffee, sharing stories of the street's past and ideas for its future. In that moment, the pulse of Notre Dame East felt unmistakably alive, proof that even after decades of stalled plans, the spirit of the community can paint its own bright horizon. Montreal keeps moving forward one street at a time.
In the heart of Laval's bustling St. Denis district, Mayor Stéphane Gagné stood before a modest crowd gathered in the historic St. Denis Community Hall. He was flanked by a group of parents, a retired teacher, and a teenage student clutching a crayon-drawn map of the city's orange metro line. The mayor's voice, steady and measured, outlined his vision. Extending the Orange Line into Laval would make commuting 10 times more efficient than the province's proposed third link, linking families to schools, jobs, and cultural venues across the island. He described the concrete tunnel under the Rivière des Prairies as more than steel and stone, a lifeline that could carry the laughter of children from the Jean Talon Market to the Plateau's cafes in minutes. A vivid moment came when a local mother, eyes bright, thanked the mayor for thinking of her son who walks 2 kilometers to the nearest station each morning. The council's applause echoed through the hall, a reminder that progress is felt in everyday moments. It's a reminder that a city's future is built one connection at a time.
Thanks, Montreal, for joining us on the lunch break. Tonight's highlight, Gloria Bailey's being honored posthumously as CBC Quebec's Black Changemaker, reminded us of the power of community. We'll be back tomorrow with fresh stories and insight, so tune in again and keep the conversation going and stay curious.